We're here off of 60th Street West and Avenue I at the former county medical facility where local leaders in political and faith-based organizations are gathering together to implore the county to relinquish this facility to be used for homeless shelter this winter.
Wow, what a great turnout. What a great crowd. Thank you so much for being here today. My name is Jeremy Johnson, and I'm the Director of Operations at Grace Resources. And I got to tell you, we are overwhelmed at this turnout. Thank you so much for being here to support this great mission that we are on, this great project that we are moving forward with. I want to just let you know why we're here today. We are here to draw attention to a crisis that exists here in the Antelope Valley. That crisis is homelessness. The number of homeless in this valley has been growing exponentially over the years. And it's time that we come together as a community to address this crisis that exists. What we are looking for is a place to put a roof over the heads of those for this winter. As you know, we are facing a difficult winter ahead if El Nino presents itself. This year, we may not have people freezing to death in the desert, but we may have people drowning in the desert. And we don't want to see that happen. And as a community, we will come together and work together to make this happen and to make this project happen. We will need to go above and beyond Antelope Valley to make this happen. And I'm so excited to introduce to you the people that are on this stage today. We have elected officials, we have pastors, we have people from this region that are not only committed to you as their constituents, as part of their congregation, but they are committed to tackling and battling this crisis of homelessness that exists here in the Antelope Valley. Let me introduce some of the folks to you real quick on the stage. We have Pastor Sean Appleton from Hope Chapel. We have Pastor Matt Dumas from Central Christian, Pastor Tom Pickens from the Antelope Valley Christian Center, Pastor Chris Johnson from Grace Chapel, Bishop Henry Hearns from Livingstone Cathedral. We have Lisa Moulton representing Congressman Steve Knight here today. We have Vice Mayor from Lancaster, Marvin Christ. We have City Councilwoman Angela Underwood. We have State Senator Sharon Runner here today. We have the Executive Director of Grace Resources, Steve Baker. We have Drew Mercy, who is representing the office of George Runner. And then we also have Mark Bozigi, the City Manager of Lancaster here today. So I'm going to invite, thank you. Give them a hand. What is really cool about this is seeing the worlds of elected officials, of faith-based pastors, of community leaders, so many of you here today. This is going to be a great day, and we are going to see an impact today on the crisis of homelessness in the Antelope Valley.
Just a brief history of how we got here. 25 years ago, Steve Baker opened up Grace Resources because we live in a community that is faith-based, and we're proud of it. Amen. Okay? We did it on our own. Little did they know that the way it works in LASA, which is the housing development people in LA County would take advantage of us. There's been numerous times when we have sat down. The city of Lancaster has sat down with them. The city of Palmdale has sat down with them and asked them to review what they have done. I'll give you a few numbers. The areas in Southern California are divided into 8 different districts. Those are called SPAs. Those are specific provider areas. Those SPAs, we live in SPA 1, basically from Acton all the way to Roseman. So SPA 1 receives $270 per person as a homeless individual. Now downtown LA is SPA 4. They receive $4,500 per person. It's a travesty. It's a crisis, and we brought it to their attention. We get 2% of the funding from LASA. They get 42% of the funding. They have 7% more homeless than we do. We have a problem. Our assemblyman then was a councilman, and we led a coalition of the pastors, and we said enough is enough. So I have to give a shout out to Norm Hickling, because Norm is the one that brought this to the attention of everybody, and let's give him a big hand. Just to go with those statistics a little bit more, SPA 4 receives $56 million in funding. We received $2.6 million in funding. Okay? We were able to do it on our own for 25 years. It's reached a point we can no longer do it on our own. All of you have stepped up. All of the elected officials have stepped up. And we've said enough is enough. And we need to stop this. We need to stop it for our homeless. We need to take care of our homeless. We will take care of our homeless, but we will not import all of Southern California's homeless to the city of Lancaster or to the Antelope Valley. We're calling for your support today, and we're going to do it a little bit nicer because Henry told me to. And that's usually not in my persona to do. But we're going to ask LA County and LA City, and I'm going to ask a question to them. Before they send millions of dollars to bring the elite athletes of the world to Los Angeles, take care of our elite veterans. Thank you.
Well, my name is Chris Johnson, and I am first and foremost a follower of Jesus Christ.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And Jesus said, whoever gives a cup of water to drink to the thirsty will by no means lose his reward in heaven. And as I think about Steve Baker, I think that he is going to be richly rewarded in eternity as he and his team for over 2 decades have given water, food, shelter, hope to hundreds, even thousands of people here in our valley, to the most vulnerable. So thank you, Steve Baker. We absolutely love you and appreciate you. As the senior pastor of Grace Chapel and as a member of the executive committee of the AVCMA, I am pleased to publicly express my support of this critical life-saving collaboration. The current president of the AVCMA, Pastor David Parker of the Vineyard, is out of the country, but he, as well as the entire leadership team, which includes Bishop Hearns and also the gentlemen that have already been introduced here and others, are also in full support. I'm also aware that Pastor Paul Chappell from Lancaster Baptist has toured this facility, and he has communicated to me his support of this project as well. So with the cooperation of the cities, of the county, of churches and civic organizations, as well as the caring citizens of the Antelope Valley, which I am so proud that each of you came out here today, I believe that this dream can become a reality. The Bible says 2 are better than 1, and in this case, a cord of thousands of strands will not be easily broken. Loving and serving God is and should be synonymous with helping the poor. In Proverbs chapter 19, verse 17, the Bible says, whoever is kind to the poor lends to the Lord, and he will reward them for what they have done. The Lord is not a respecter of persons, as he loves all of us very much. He also knows that we are blessed when we put others before ourselves. And so helping others, especially the poor and the needy, is a gift and a calling that we cannot ignore as citizens and certainly not as Christians. As we work together on this project, we can significantly help our neighbors and our friends who are in desperate need. Psalm 113, verses 6 and 7, who is like the Lord our God, the one who sits enthroned on high, who stoops down to look on the heavens and the earth. He raises up the poor from the dust and lifts the needy from the ash heap. And so as a man who is grateful for the grace of God in my own life, as a recipient of God's gift of salvation in Christ, I'm delighted to join my beloved community and each one on this platform to show grace to those who have such profound physical needs. Even with the many challenges, I will remind you that nothing is impossible with God. God bless you.
Thank you, everybody, for being here. Let me just tell you that I'm very proud to be here because I get to be a voice for those who have very weak voices. And some of those circumstances were things that they could not prevent. And we as a community are going to be measured by how we treat the less fortunate.
Absolutely. That's true.
For years, my whole life, I grew up out here in the Antelope Valley. I raising my family here in the Antelope Valley because I love the Antelope Valley. And one reason why I love the Antelope Valley is because we care. We are a community of faith, and we're proud of that. We don't apologize for that. However, the partnership between government and our community is critical. It's important that we build the synergy that these folks deserve. You heard Mr. Christ utter some of the statistical imbalances that currently exist. We need to remedy some of that imbalance. Because we have people that don't have the ability to advocate for themselves. They rely on those of us who are in position to advocate. So thank each one of you. You're here. You don't have to be here. So I want to thank you for being here, but let's not stop here. This is such an amazing opportunity that we have, but we have impasses that need to be overcome, and they're called government. I'm not here to criticize government. I'm here to praise the good things that government is able to do. But when they fall short, we need to improve. And we need to call officials out and say, we have people that need action now. They don't need it 2 or 3 years from now. We have a winter that's going to be here. We have predictions of a lot of moisture, a lot of water, which we're a very thirsty state for. But these people that don't have homes will be threatened by that.
Absolutely.
We have facilities here. Let's use them. Let's take advantage of them. I just want to say I'm very proud of the collective work of the community leaders here that have assembled together, the people of faith, the leaders of faith that really understand. You know, my career with the California Highway Patrol, we don't just drive the freeways. We see all sorts of cultural imbalances. We see all sorts of heartache. We see circumstances that need help. Ladies and gentlemen, I promise you, the Antelope Valley has hundreds, if not thousands of people who need our help. Let's deliver, let's utilize this system, and just don't let this attendance here today be the last of your efforts to advocate for these folks. I'm proud to join with you, and let's get this done. Thank you.
It's truly a blessing that all of you being here today, sitting in the sun, so I'll be brief, want to assist our homelessness in our community and our hometown. Always astounds me that when there's a need in the Antelope Valley, we don't always look down below, as we call it here, on the other side of the mountains. We join together as a community and work together. And that's how Grace Resource got started, was a group of people that said, we need to do something about those who have needs. And I really appreciate that. And Steve, as he started almost 25 years ago now. There is a reason for that, and there is a saying, my friend and Congressman now, Kevin McCarthy, has always told us when we were in the legislature together to be team players, which means together everyone accomplishes much. So that acronym has stayed with me. I'm sure he will do that in hopefully a new leadership role. He represents this part of the district in Lancaster, so I will be going back, I think, the first week in November and talking to him about what we're trying to do here and look for some federal funds as well to join us with this. Right now, we're talking about, and I'm not giving you any statistics, housing people in these modulars in the winter. That is the first step of hopefully beginning of a really developed, safe, organized, clean community that does training for those who are homeless, helps them get their high school degree, medical and emotional needs met. All this can be done on this site, and that's what we're talking about today. So there is a meeting coming up on October 5th the stakeholders, LA County, Lancaster, Palmdale, others in the community will be meeting, and I ask you to pray for a good outcome on that day. And we are so blessed, even though we're 60 miles from down below, we are so blessed in this community that we have pastors, churches, community leaders that see the need and meet the need. And again, together, everyone accomplishes much. So God bless you all. I'll be praying for this effort and working as hard as I can to actually make this happen.
When you get so busy doing what you do, it's hard to have time to tell your story. And today all we want to do is tell our story. We're not here to shame the county or the state into anything. They've done an incredible job helping the homeless and the near homeless and the working poor. We just need more of that up here. This opportunity is not a once-in-a-lifetime deal. It's once in a 10-lifetime deal. This will never happen again. I've been a pastor here for 40 years. Started when I was 2. We love you.
And I have made hundreds of hospital calls to this building, visiting people, some of my own family who were sick and dying and in need of prayer and comfort and a little friendship. And so this place has a really warm place in my heart. And then I look back on the last 25 years with Grace, starting on Yucca at that little building. There's a reason why they named that street Yucca. And then we stepped up to Sierra Highway. I became the Bishop of Sierra Highway. Thanks, Henry. But it's all been about people, individuals and families who are lacking, who are out of work, out of money, their health has gone south. Sometimes it's an accident, a car accident. Sometimes it's a sickness when there's no insurance. Broken relationships is probably most of what's gone on to put people in a poor place. And so when they come to Grace, some don't come for a while because they're proud or they don't want to take it away from somebody else. I can tell you we have never, ever once, ever turned anybody away because we didn't have food. God's blessed us through the LA Regional Food Bank. As we speak right now, there are groups doing food drives I don't even know about. Because over 25 years, when a group does a food drive, in their mind, it's an annual deal. So I'll be sitting and looking, from my desk, I can see the parking lot, and I see a pickup load of food coming in. They come in and go, "Oh, we're so sorry, we didn't ask for permission." I go, "Well, let me think about that." But it's just been a blessing. 2 months ago, I didn't order food from the food bank for 6 weeks because with the post office food drive and the food that came in from all the other local food drives, we just didn't need it. It's incredible. And so it's not just about food. Thank you. It's not just about food, it's about building relationships. I have to tell you the story to get this picture out of my head. Thursday, a mom came in with two young kids, and the one was 4 or 5, and the little one was about 2.5. And when they walked in, I said, "Oh, have a seat." And that 2.5-year-old little boy came around to my chair and crawled up on my lap and put his head right here and went to sleep. Big pillow. Yeah, thanks. That's right. It was, that's what this is about. It's about being trusted. It's about feeling like you have value and you're worth it. And it's about just that little extra thing. It didn't cost me anything to let that kid be on my shoulder. Of course, it reminded me of my 6.5 grandkids, but that's cool. But when I helped the mom with what she needed, got her some groceries, everything was cool. And when she went to leave, she tapped her son on the back, says, "Time to go, son." And he kissed me on the cheek and then left.
Wow.
It didn't get any better than that.
No.
And that doesn't cost anything. But to have the building, the staff, we have 39 paid staff, 400 volunteers, many churches that support us. We serve about 15,000 people a month with all the hot meals and the shelter and breakfast and all the things that go on. And it's not a village, it's several villages making that happen. And so today, we just want to tell our story. I want to tell you that the opportunity on Yucca is we have about 100 beds. The last 2 years, we did a men's shelter at the fairgrounds. Thank God for our fair board. They were very, very good to us. Thank you. And then this opportunity came up, and we were hoping we'd be here for our winter shelter, and so the fairgrounds kind of made some other plans. However, it still could work if we need it.
This is just taking longer than we thought it was going to take. And so over there we have 100 beds. Here's what we have here. We can have, am I reading the right thing here, Jeremy? Okay. The outbuildings that we can use without going into the main building yet would give us room for 65 men, 38 women, 14 to 17 families, which is about 60 people. And about half of those are going to be kids. Now, we've already talked to the district superintendent of West Side Schools, Gina Rosal, and in fact, the day after it was in the paper, she called me, we met. What's this going to do to our school district? And I said, what did the hospital do? How did it affect your, oh, we didn't, nothing. So it's about the same. I think we'll have 6 or 8 elementary school age kids at any given time. She goes, oh, cool, because the bus comes right through here to Del Sur. In 10 minutes, we worked it out. It's just how it's going to be in so many arenas. It's just going to work out. Every single person, every one of you have thought about it. It's so far out here. Well, for a couple of years, we were going to rebuild or build a new facility by the courthouse. $9 or $10 million. It's only about a half mile further than coming out this way. And then we got this offer, I think $1 a year is what they said. $1 a year, 10 million. Let me think about that a while. But the reality is we can make it work here. We just need some help on some expediency. I will tell you that some phone calls have been made in preparation for this. One phone call that came in last night was that, and it was on the news yesterday, so it's no big news, but it is for me, is that they have voted to start winter shelter 6 weeks earlier and appropriate all the money to do that. That's incredible, across the county. And then the next word that came out was between Fred Leaf, a dear friend, senior helper for Mike Antonovich, and whoever the head person is. Jeremy does that stuff. I don't know how it works. That they have really, it's unofficially they're making every effort to get this done as quickly as possible, and that's what we're here for. So that's totally incredible to me. So if we could have moved from 100 beds to, when this is done, almost 400 beds. And also have the ability to teach life skill classes. As we speak, we have life skill classes, parenting classes, anger management. We just got 3 staff trained to do that, and they're all certified. We're going to have that. We have people, graduations all the time from our classes, giving people the skills to get back to work, to do better with their families, and to make it work. Our contract we have with the county, we do monitored visits for children that are in the system, and so the parents can have monitored times with their kids, which is the biggest factor for getting their children back. We're doing 73-hour visits a month. We just trained 4 new people to help do that. And those 3-hour visits are not in an office complex. It's in one of our neighborhood homes, thanks to our city and Mayor Paris, where they can go and be with their families, they can make cookies, they can cook dinner, they can spend 3 hours of quality time together. And then we write a report afterwards saying how that went. That's incredible. So when they come out here, we're going to have all these outbuildings where we can have all these classes. The classes will give skills for work, skills for living, skills for getting along, skills for improving family income. And what that does then is it decreases unemployment, it decreases homelessness, it helps people get along, because financial issues are the biggest deal these days with people fighting and not getting along. But it becomes then a mecca of help for people. So the name of our association is Grace. This place is about hope. It's a hotel of hope. It's going to be a place where people will come and put their lives back together. I want to acknowledge, we have some staff and some of my board members here. If you're here, just wave your hands and scream, ah! AJ, there you go. All right. I am very proud to see our elected officials here. I appreciate the signs, but again, we're not here to shame anybody. We're just being friendly and sharing our story. But here's the last thing I want to say. Rex really made this happen. He started it. Mike Antonovich has always been a cheerleader for us. Norm Hickling was his right arm. And those 2 men have really made these guys and gals work. But here's what keeps coming to my mind. We've been coming out here for over a year now, and the grass was green then and there were no weeds, but it was pretty much the same. I worked for 10 years at a place called Soledad Sands. Anybody remember that? Now it's Thousand Trails in Acton. Sue Porter worked with me for many years down there. We were young and dumb. Now we're old and dumb. What can I say? But there were some things in my life in those days that made things kind of rough, with stepdads and goofy stuff going on. 3 sisters, that'll ruin any good man. But every morning when I would drive into work, I did it for 4 years from the Navy in San Diego. I would drive up to work and in the morning, bright and early, sun's coming through the trees, I would just take a sigh of relief when I drove into that park, because it was so beautiful, it was so peaceful, and it gave me hope. Because I worked for a man named Buck Ware who believed in me and trusted me and taught me a lot, things that I use today. My government trusted me. I was in the Navy, building jet engines. I was so proud of that. But that park represented peace for me. And every time I pull into this place, I get that same feeling. This is a place of peace, a place to rebuild, a place to be trusted, gain your value, and get help. And so, to not belabor the point, the reality is that's what we're here for.